I am 33 years old, and I never imagined I would end up telling this story. My name does not matter, but what happened to me might save someone else from the same nightmare. I had been married to my wife, Jessica, for 8 years. She was 32, beautiful, successful in real estate, and I thought we had the perfect life together. We talked about starting a family, buying a bigger house, growing old together. I trusted her completely. That was my first mistake. Last summer, I planned a weekend trip with my buddies to watch a football game 2 states away. We'd been planning this for months. But at the last minute, my best friend Brandon's son got really sick, so we had to cancel the whole thing. It happens, right? Kids get sick. No big deal. I figured I would surprise Jessica by coming home early. I thought she would be excited to see me. Boy, was I wrong about what I was walking into. I pulled into our driveway around 9 o'clock at night. I noticed several cars parked on the street outside our house. I recognized Sarah's Subaru and Amanda's Honda right away. Jessica had told me she was having the girls over for wine night while I was supposed to be gone, so seeing their cars made sense. Everything seemed normal. I was about to walk through the front door when I heard voices coming from our back deck. They were loud, really loud, that wine-drunk kind of loud where people forget to control their volume. I was going to walk around back to say hello and surprise them when I heard my name. Something made me stop. Call it instinct, call it luck, call it whatever you want. I just froze right there by the side gate. And that is when I heard Jessica's voice, slurring slightly from the wine. She said, "Tyler is just so... I cannot even." The girls all giggled. Then Sarah said something that made my blood run cold. "Oh my God, I still cannot believe you have kept this going so long." And then Jessica practically shouted, "He is too stupid to realize I've been cheating for years." They all roared with laughter like it was the funniest joke they had ever heard in their entire life. I literally froze mid-step. My brain just stopped working. I couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't breathe. Jessica kept talking, and every word was like a knife in my chest. She said, "Marcus has been the best decision I ever made. Last week, while Tyler was working late, Marcus came over and we did it right on the couch where Tyler takes his precious naps." More cackling laughter from all of them. Amanda shrieked, "No, the sacred nap couch," like this was the funniest thing she had ever heard in her entire life. Then Jessica said something that made me want to throw up. She said, "You should have seen how sweet Tyler was the next day, making me breakfast. If he only knew what his precious wife had been doing the night before." That breakfast, I remembered it. I had made her favorite avocado toast and those fancy scrambled eggs she likes. I brought her coffee in bed. I told her I loved her, and she sat there eating it, knowing what she had done the night before, and she did not feel a single thing. I don't know how long I stood there listening to them swap stories about my wife's affair. My whole body was shaking, but I couldn't move. I learned that my business trips were her favorite times to have Marcus over, that they had been sleeping together for over 3 years. 3 years! And then the worst part, she had been with him the weekend of my father's funeral. She told me she had food poisoning and couldn't attend my dad's funeral, but she was with Marcus that whole weekend. I did not confront them. I did not make a scene. I did not burst through that gate and scream at all of them. I just silently walked back to my car, got in, and drove away. I ended up in a Target parking lot about 10 minutes away, just sitting there in my car, trying to breathe. I must have looked insane. A grown man hyperventilating in his car at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday in a Target parking lot. But I couldn't go home. I couldn't face her. Not yet. Once I could think straight again, I called Brandon. Thank God his kid was feeling better and he picked up the phone. I said, "Dude, my whole life just imploded." I told him everything I had heard, every single word. Brandon did not hesitate. He said, "Do not go home tonight. Come crash here. We'll figure this out." So I drove to Brandon's house, and I paced his living room for hours while he sat there Googling divorce lawyers on his laptop. My mind kept replaying all these moments from the past few years that suddenly made perfect sense. The girls' trips where she came back with barely any photos. How she started keeping her phone face down all the time. unexplained charges at hotels less than 30 miles from our house. All those nights she said she was showing houses to clients after normal business hours. I felt like the biggest fool on the planet. How did I not see it? How could I have been so blind?
Around 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a text from Jessica. It said, "Girls are crashed here. Hope you are having fun with the boys. Love you." I nearly threw my phone against Brandon's wall. The audacity, the absolute nerve of this woman. Brandon grabbed my phone and said, "You need to be smart about this. Do not tip her off. Not yet." And the next morning, I pretended everything was normal. I texted Jessica and told her I had crashed at Brandon's place after drinking too much with the guys. She bought it completely. She even had the nerve to complain about having to clean up after the girls while nursing her hangover. I drove home, walked in, kissed her on the cheek, and acted like nothing had happened. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Over the next week, I went into full reconnaissance mode. When she was in the shower, I checked her phone. Thousands of texts with someone named Marcus going back years, hotel receipts, explicit photos. I felt sick, but I took screenshots of everything and emailed them all to myself. And then I checked our finances. Hundreds of unexplained charges at restaurants I had never been to. Lingerie I had never seen her wear. And here's the kicker. She had used our joint account to book a weekend getaway for her and Marcus while I was at my father's funeral. She spent our money to be with her lover while I was burying my dad. Each discovery was like another knife in my chest. 8 years of marriage. All the times I defended her to my family when they said she seemed self-centered. All my plans and dreams for our future. All our talks about starting a family next year. All of it was a lie. But I did not confront her. Not yet. I had a plan. I met with a divorce attorney on my lunch break. I found the most aggressive one in town according to Google reviews. Her name was Patricia, and she was a shark. She laid it all out for me. She said, "Document everything. Secure your finances. Prepare for the storm. I see this every day. You are doing the right thing by not confronting her yet. The more prepared we are, the better position you will be in." That night, as I watched Jessica laughing at something on her phone, probably texting Marcus, something inside me changed. The pain was still there, but suddenly it was like ice water in my veins instead of fire. I realized I did not just want out of this marriage, I wanted justice. See, Jessica built her whole identity around being respected and admired. Her social status, her reputation, her image as this perfect wife with the perfect life that she carefully curated on Instagram. She prided herself on being the one everyone came to for advice, the moral compass of her friend group. And now I had proof that it was all a lie. I started making moves. I transferred half our savings to a new account in just my name. I password protected all important documents. I made a detailed list of all our assets. I photographed everything valuable in the house. All stuff my lawyer Patricia recommended. Meanwhile, I pretended everything was fine. I kissed Jessica goodbye in the mornings. I asked about her day. I watched Netflix beside her while she texted Marcus right next to me on the couch. Each day I played the role of oblivious husband while methodically preparing to blow up her entire world. 2 weeks after that night I overheard her on the deck, I was ready. I had everything documented. Financial statements, evidence of the affair, a new apartment lease signed and paid for, and support from my family who were horrified by what she had done. My mom cried when I told her. My sister wanted to drive over and confront Jessica herself, but I told them all to wait, to trust me. And the hardest part was keeping my cool when Jessica would look me in the eyes and lie, when she would say, "I love you," before bed, when she suggested we start trying for that baby next month. Each time I wanted to scream in her face, but I stayed calm because I knew something she did not. The woman who laughed about how stupid I was had no idea I was about to become the most methodical, unforgiving force she had ever faced. Then came D-Day. I picked it strategically, the day of Jessica's big client appreciation event that she had been planning for months. This event was everything to her. All her biggest clients would be there, her boss would be there. It was supposed to be her moment to shine.
Here is how it went down. That morning, I acted completely normal. I made coffee, I kissed her goodbye, I told her good luck with her event. She left looking confident as hell in her expensive outfit that I now realized I had basically paid for her to look good for other men. At exactly 10 o'clock in the morning, I sent the evidence package to Marcus's wife via courier. Her name was Jennifer. I included my phone number if she wanted to talk. By noon, all hell broke loose. I was at my new apartment when the texts started flooding in from Jessica. "Why is Marcus's wife calling me? Did you talk to her? Answer your phone." I did not respond. I just watched the messages pile up. Then Jennifer called me. We talked for almost an hour. She was devastated but grateful I had told her. Apparently Marcus had been gaslighting her for years about her paranoia. She told me Marcus was now frantically trying to save his marriage, which meant throwing Jessica completely under the bus. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Jessica's client event was in shambles. She had to leave early because of the emergency with Marcus's wife calling and texting her. She kept calling me non-stop. I did not answer. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I sent a brief, factual email to her parents. No emotional language, just the timeline and key evidence. I have always respected them, and they deserve to know who their daughter really was. I explained I did not want to hurt them, but I could not let Jessica control the narrative about what had happened. By 6 o'clock in the evening, I was sitting calmly in our living room when Jessica finally came home. Her mascara was everywhere, and she looked like she had aged 10 years in one day. She started with anger. How dare I tell Jennifer? How could I betray her like this? Then she quickly moved to bargaining when she realized I was not reacting at all. She tried everything. Tears, screaming, even trying to seduce me. More tears. I just sat there, calm as a cucumber, and said, "We both know exactly what is going on." Then I handed her the divorce papers Patricia had prepared. The color drained from her face when she realized this was not a spontaneous reaction, that I had been planning this for weeks while sleeping next to her every night. That is when she noticed some of my things were missing from around the house. I told her I would be staying elsewhere and that she had 3 days to figure out her living situation before I informed our landlord about the breach of our lease agreement. We had a morality clause, another thing Patricia found useful. The next few days were interesting, to say the least. Jessica swung between threatening me, "You will never get away with this," to begging, "We can fix this. It was just physical. I have always loved only you," to trying to play the victim. "I was lonely. You work too much." Meanwhile, her social circle was imploding. Sarah and Amanda ghosted her once they realized their role in this might become public knowledge. Her parents called her and had what her mom later described to me as a very disappointing conversation. And Marcus, that coward, was in full damage control mode with his wife, telling Jennifer that Jessica was obsessed with him and would not leave him alone. The financial reality hit Jessica hard. She realized half our savings was legally moved to my account. Her access to our joint credit cards was gone. She couldn't afford the rent on our apartment by herself. Her event disaster meant she would probably lose clients. This was all crashing down on her at once, and I will not lie, part of me felt satisfied watching it happen. Yesterday was the final nail in the coffin. Jessica found out from mutual friends that everyone knows what she did. Not because I went around telling people directly, but because Jennifer apparently told her friends, who told their friends, and so on. The social circle she had carefully built around her perfect image was collapsing, and she could not control the narrative anymore. Last night, Jessica showed up at my new apartment. Somehow she got my address, probably from her friend who works at the leasing office across town. She was sobbing on my doorstep, makeup running, looking completely broken. For a split second, I almost felt bad for her. Almost. I let her in because my neighbors were starting to notice, and I am not about creating public scenes. She immediately launched into how she had made a terrible mistake, how she would do anything to fix it, how she couldn't believe she had risked our marriage for someone like Marcus. I just looked at her and said, "Remember when you told your friends I was too stupid to realize you were cheating? Well, surprise." The look on her face when she realized I had heard everything that night. I can't even describe it. Pure shock, then horror, then shame. She started to say something about how she didn't mean it. She was drunk. It was just talk. I cut her off and told her to sit down because I had something to show her. I showed her a complete breakdown of her new financial reality. Spreadsheets, projections, and a detailed accounting of exactly how broke she was going to be after this divorce. I watched the hope drain from her eyes as she realized there was no way back from this. The actual legal process was surprisingly smooth. Patricia was worth every penny. During mediation, Jessica tried to argue that she deserved half of everything because one mistake should not erase 8 years of marriage. The mediator, this older lady with zero tolerance for nonsense, just stared at her and asked if 3 years of documented infidelity counted as one mistake. When Jessica realized her usual crying routine was not working, she switched to threats, said she would drag my name through the mud, tell everyone I was abusive, and make the divorce as painful as possible. Patricia simply slid the photo evidence of her with Marcus across the table and reminded her that our state allows adultery to impact alimony decisions. The look on Jessica's face was priceless. We settled 2 weeks later. I kept my retirement accounts and most of our assets. She got enough to start over, but nowhere near the lifestyle she was accustomed to. The judge actually told her she was fortunate given the circumstances. Jessica had to move in with her parents at 32 years old, from our luxury apartment to a guest room with floral wallpaper and a twin bed she had had since high school. She tried to keep up appearances on Instagram for a while, lots of cryptic quotes about growth and trusting the journey with strategic camera angles that did not show she was living in her childhood bedroom. But social media is weirdly transparent these days. People notice when you suddenly stop posting new content. Her financial situation went from bad to worse when she lost her job. Not directly because of the affair, her boss did not care about her personal life, but because she kept missing work and showing up late. Depression, probably. I cannot say I didn't understand that part. 6 months after everything exploded, I ran into Jessica at Home Depot. I was buying paint for my new place, finally got tired of staring at white walls. She looked different, hair shorter, clothes less flashy. We both froze. Then she asked if we could talk for a minute. Against my better judgment, I said yes. We sat on a bench outside, both holding our Home Depot bags. She gave me an actual, genuine apology. No excuses, no blame shifting, just acknowledged how badly she had hurt me and how she had been working on herself in therapy to understand why she did it. Then she told me she was moving to Chicago for a fresh start. And the weirdest part? I realized I felt nothing. Not anger, not pain, not even satisfaction. Just nothing. So what did I learn from all of this? First, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. I ignored so many red flags because I wanted to believe everything was fine. Second, do not confront immediately when you discover infidelity. I know it goes against every instinct, but taking time to prepare gave me control of the situation. Third, document everything. Screenshots, receipts, timelines, everything. It protected me legally and financially. Fourth, get a good lawyer immediately. Patricia saved me thousands of dollars and years of drama. But here's the most important thing I learned. The best revenge is not destroying someone else's life, it's rebuilding your own better than before. Jessica's life fell apart mostly through natural consequences of her own actions. I just made sure I was protected when it happened. Today, I'm in a better place. I have a new apartment that's actually starting to feel like home. I have good friends who supported me through the worst time of my life. I'm dating someone new, taking it slow, learning to trust again, and I sleep well at night, knowing that I handled this with dignity and intelligence. If you're going through something similar, here's my advice. Do not make rash decisions. Do not seek revenge through destruction. Protect yourself legally and financially first. Lean on your support system. Get therapy. It helps more than you think. And remember, the person who cheated on you is going to face consequences whether you orchestrate them or not. Karma is real. It just sometimes needs a little documentation and a good lawyer to speed things along. Justice prevailed in my story not because I destroyed Jessica, but because I refused to let her destroy me. That's the real victory. That's the real karma. And that's what I want you to remember if you ever find yourself in my situation. Protect yourself, stay calm, and let their own actions bring them down. Because they will. They always do.